Good evening, everyone. My name is Camden Abrahams. I'm a junior majoring in construction management and engineering technology. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. And today, my public speech will be about why NCAA athletes should continue to receive a salary or some form of compensation. Until recently, for decades, the NCAA schools and coaches have made millions of dollars off the backs of student athletes who have put in blood, sweat, and tears into the sport, while these athletes couldn't receive a penny of any money that was made off of them without facing severe consequences like being expelled from the team, school, or loss of eligibility. Why this topic is so important to me is because I personally feel it is not morally okay to exploit and make money off of college kids while they receive little to no compensation for their efforts. While I do understand on the other side brings up great counter arguments such as putting hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars in the hands of college-age kids is probably not the smartest idea, but I feel like with proper rules and policies put in place, such as making it mandatory for all NCAA athletes to go into to participate in financial literacy classes, I feel like that could help negate some of these problems that they could see arising. Because at the end of the day, these are just 18 to 21-year-old kids or young adults who are still trying to balance a social life, school, and sports. So mistakes are going to happen, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay them. And kind of that is my goal with this speech, is to help provide you, the audience, with sound information and evidence with the intent to support my claim. Some of the main points I intend to include in my speech are the massive amounts of revenue that they generate for institutions. Being a college athlete is basically a full-time job. And finally, the risk of career-altering or ending injuries by playing sports. My overall message is that collegiate athletes who dedicate significant amounts of time to perform at the best of their ability for the consumer entertainment should mean that they do deserve and are allowed to receive compensation for these sacrifices. My first main point was athletes and their successes can provide institutions, conferences, and colleges with large sums of revenue. One of my first sub-points was that I think, being like these big-time athletes, for example, guys like Zion Williamson, who were generation athletes before the NIL, they help, their schools make so much money. Like in his first season, Zion Williams helped Duke's men's basketball increase their ticket sales by 82%. That's hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars right there that they're making off of him, and he couldn't receive not one penny. My second sub-point was also the increase in, to help increase partner sponsorships between schools and the athletic department. In today's climate, athletes carry such a large followings on social media that it makes them an incredible asset to plenty of big name brand sponsorships. So they use these athletes to help, promote their brand, which helps the school and the athletic department. My third point was that how athletes play a key role in not just selling the athletic merchandise, but also school merchandise. When the athletic department is doing good and you got big name athletes at the school, they help sell not just athletic gear, but also school gear, like school hoodies and stuff like that. So athletes don't only just help the athletic department in there, they also help the school make, school. My second main point was being a collegiate student is a glorified full-time job. My first main point was collegiate student athletes spend a considerable amount of time throughout the week, training. Like studies have shown that on average, NCAA athletes can spend 30 plus hours practicing and training, and in the off season, it could be up to 8 or more hours. My second main point was collegiate student athletes are still, even though they are here for athletics, they still are held to a high academic standard and often spend 40 or more hours a week either being in class or studying. And they are also, a lot of teams implement a policy of that, or schools implement a policy of that if student athletes aren't maintaining a minimum GPA, they could be put on academic probation, suspending them from any athletic activities. And I kind of think this segues into my third point of how this can induce such a mental stress and strain on these collegiate athletes of trying to perform not only to the best ability as an athlete, but also as a student. So I think a lot of times the collegiate athletes find it hard to effectively balance the duality of being a student and athlete. My third point was the possibility of these athletes suffering career-ending or altering or ending injuries. My first main point was that collegiate athletes year-round subject themselves to very high training loads. So like being in season, they are practicing very frequently, which reduces recovery time, which puts even more physical strain on the body. And then while they're practicing, they're in order to perform the best on game day, they are, pushing their body to the absolute limits. So this puts then even more stress onto their body. And then also my second main sub point was being the D1 collegiate sports, the sheer physicality of and speed of the game. Contact sports like football and basketball deal with high energy collisions on every play, which can lead to bodily injuries. And even in the non-contact sports like track or soccer, you got repetitive movements and high energy movements that can also stress the body, leading to injury as well. And then my last sub point was the consequences that can stem from dealing with these serious injuries. Is that a lot of times these athletes feel such a pressure not to let down their teammates, coaches, and fans that they will often play or practice through injuries, only making them worse. And in some cases, like if the injury is so serious, these athletes can even lose their scholarship. And a lot of times these scholarships are the reason why they're in college. So losing that scholarship could be detrimental to their not only their athletic but education. So in conclusion, as I come to the end of my speech, I ask you, the audience, to reflect on some of the main points I brought up in this speech, such as first understanding how much of an asset these collegiate athletes are to coaches, schools, and conferences that they play for, and just how much the money that they can help bring in. Also, the crazy amount of time these athletes, just that put in, not only just being a great athlete, but also being a high quality student as well. And then lastly, my last point I wanted to bring up was also the risk of injury, like the serious risk of injury that these athletes subject themselves to, for our entertainment. This could jeopardize not only their education, but their athletic careers. So finally, in my last statement to you, the audience, at the end of the day, these are just 18 to 20-year-old adults, kids and adults, who just want to play the sport that they love, get a good education, and possibly even play professionally one day. But for the ones who won't, I feel that it is not only right for all the pressure and exhaustion that they deal with on a daily being a student athlete, that they should receive some sort of compensation money-wise for being responsible for generating millions of dollars in revenue for these institutions. Thank you.